Hey guys! Today I'm going to be planning for the month of December in my bullet journal. On the left side, I'm starting out by writing the title for the month in faux calligraphy with these new markers that I got. These are the Uni Posca paint markers in the medium tip size. Next, I'm making this wavy shape with the pink marker and coloring in the bottom half of the page pink. So far, I've really been liking these markers. Because they are paint markers, I can get a pretty even layer of color without having those streaky things where I go over certain parts. They work really well for their intended purpose, and they're probably my favorite markers that I've used so far, but they're not perfect. My gripe with them is that the tips tend to get a lot of fibers of the paper stuck in them, so it creates a little fuzzy tail that I have to scrape off every once in a while. Now I'm adding these little tree silhouettes onto the pink blob, and then I am adding in snowflakes into the December text using a white Uni Posca marker. This one is in the extra fine tip size. If you watched my header ideas video from the beginning of this year, I'll link it in the cards right now if you would like to check that out. I showed an example of doing calligraphy with a dark color and then adding in accents with a white pen. So that's the style that I'm using, and the accents that I'm using are snowflakes. Now I'm adding in a little monthly calendar inside the pink blob using the same white pen. And moving on to the right side, you know the drill if you've watched my Plan With Me videos. First I have my video plan for and if you continue paying close attention to the numbers that I write down, this month I'm going to be having one bonus video the day before Christmas, which is a Monday, not within my usual Friday posting schedule, because for my videos for December, I obviously have to do bullet journal summaries for 2018. And again, if you continue watching, I will put in exactly which videos are going on, but I couldn't fit all of them in before 2019, so might as well give you guys a bonus video, especially since I'll have extra time to film during the holiday break. Next, I filled in snowflakes inside the video's text, just like I did inside the December title, and then I did another swirly pink tree thing. Now I'm moving on to my finance tracker, which has the title in green. I kind of wish I had done it in pink because it stands out a lot more because it's darker, and since it matches the December title, it kind of detracts from the emphasis on the main title for the month. And now I'm adding in highlights on the trees that I put on the pink blobs. Moving on to the next spread, I'm referring back to my January monthly setup where I made the grid calendar. December is going to be a pretty busy month for me since I have finals coming up, so I thought that with the 2-column layout that I did in most of my previous Plan With Me videos, there wouldn't really be enough space to record everything that's going on. So I'm drawing the grid using a pink marker, and now I'm using a green marker to add in these little dots on the top left corner. Inside these dots, I'm going to put the number of the date. Underneath the calendar, I'm adding another swirly blob thing that I'm going to add more trees onto. I noticed that the markers worked okay at layering on top of each other, but I had to go over it a couple of times to get it to full opacity to cover the pink grid. Continuing on, I'm adding some more trees. These are pine trees that are kind of sort of Christmas trees, and the color scheme is also meant to be subtly Christmas themed, but a little more cheerful and bordering on tropical. Obviously green is a traditional Christmas color, and then pink is meant to replace red. As I was discussing this, I'm lettering a quote about the holiday season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I apologize for this going out of focus right now for some reason. It'll come back soon, but right now I'm adding small numbers into those green dots to label each date, and then adding highlights onto the green trees along the bottom. Now I'm adding in my events that are happening on each day into this monthly calendar, using my regular black gel pen that I use for schoolwork. I'm referring back to the assignment sheets that my teachers have given us. Now moving on to adding more snowflakes into the text. The process that I do for this is I start off with only a few large ones, and then as the snowflake shapes get smaller, I do more of them. And then finally, I fill in the remaining space with random dots. Moving on to the first weekly setup for this month. I was pretty indecisive when I was coming up with a layout for these, so there's a lot of me drawing things in pencil, counting squares, not being satisfied with it, and then erasing it, or even using whiteout because I had already used a pink marker for it. This begins the first attempt, and I'm adding in those green dots just like I did on the monthly layout, and putting the numbers for the day inside the green dots. And then I decided I didn't like this one, and I switched it to this grid style layout that looks very similar to the monthly setup. And this one is to record the events for the week, and then on the rest of the pages I will have space to write my to-dos for the week. So this top header is another one of those blobby tree things that I've been using a lot this month. To complete the weekly setup, I'm transferring events into the planner on the left column. Then I'm adding a title for week 1 into the green blob thing. And lastly, I will be putting a calligraphy M to signify my to-do list for Monday. I hope you enjoyed this video and look forward to more bullet journal videos for the rest of the year. I upload new videos every Friday, and I post pictures of my bullet journal on my Tumblr and Instagram, which are both at studyquill. See you next time!